So, why is it that every time truth steps into the light, the world tries to kill it? Let's talk.
Gather round, you weary travelers, let me tell you tales. Tales of woe and wonder, tales of long, long trails. Dusty roads and broken dreams, whispers on the breeze. Secrets that the highway keeps underneath the trees. So listen close and you will hear the stories of the road we hold so dear. Long road, take me home.
Take me home, long road. Yes, sir. Lots of tales on this long road, too. And that's what we share every Friday now, not just the top 3 stories of the week. So, from the prophets of old who were stoned for warning their people, to the Messiah who was nailed to a cross for speaking truth too clearly, to the modern day where those who dare to say, hey, this is real, are drowned in laughter, algorithms, and mockery. And why do people love the lie so much? Why does illusion feel safer than reality? And why do those who live in darkness fight to stay there? Well, tonight's episode isn't about politics or science or religion. It's about the human condition, that ancient tragic reflex that makes us cling to shadows and call them light. There's an old story, perhaps older than Scripture itself, who knows, that speaks of men who live in darkness and one who saw the light and tried to tell them. And you've probably heard it before, but maybe not like I'm about to tell it to you this evening. So, stay with me and let's go into the cave. All right. So this came to me because just some discussions my wife and I had, and from a couple of podcasts I listened to. And as far as the cave idea, I got it from listening to a friend of mine's podcast. I'm sure many of you probably have heard of him and know him. Doc Brown, Justin from Prometheus Lens. I don't remember who he was interviewing, but they got on the subject of the cave and allegory. And I'm going to share this with you really quick, so bear with me. And this is me kind of retelling it in a more modern way because of what I feel like I've been dealing with for 2-3 weeks now with our new Facebook site. So without further ado, here we go. So they lived deep within the mountain in a vast cavern, warmed by the glow of an unseen fire. For as long as anyone could remember, they had sat facing the wall, chained not by iron, but by comfort, by habit, by the endless dance of shadows projected before them. The shadows told them stories of progress, of reason, of science, and self-sufficiently, and kept them entertained. And each movement on the wall was greeted with cheers or outrage, laughter, or debate. They argued endlessly about what the shadows meant, never asking where they came from. It was enough to feel informed, entertained, and morally certain in the dim flicker of illusion. One day, one of them turned around. He saw the fire, blinding, strange, and painful, and for the first time, he knew that his world was a lie. And driven by a desperate hunger for the source of light itself, he stumbled upward through winding tunnels, past idols carved from ideas, past echoes of ancient philosophies until he broke through into the open air. And the light of the true world seared his eyes. He saw color, motion, life, not shadows, but reality. And he began to weep, not for joy, but for sorrow, realizing that everything his companions had ever known was a ghost of the real, a dim parody of the creation he was now witnessing. And he saw the Maker's hand in every leaf, the echo of purpose in every star, and understood that goodness was not an opinion, but the heartbeat of the one who made all things. So he went back and he hurried down the tunnels, calling out, trying to tell others that their world was only a reflection of the real one, that truth and love and beauty were not inventions of the mind, but realities shining beyond the cave. But they laughed, and they said his eyes were damaged, that the light had driven him mad, and they mocked him for believing in things he could never prove with shadow or flame. And some grew angry, angry enough to silence him forever. For nothing is more hated than the man who shows the blind that they are blind. And when the cave grew quiet again, the prisoners turned back to the wall, the shadows resumed their dance, and the crowd cheered louder than before. For the story they wanted most was the one that never challenged or challenges them. And so, for those of you who are aware, I'm just kind of retelling this Plato's allegory. Story is ancient, but really it's never ended, right? The cave didn't vanish when the philosopher died. It just changes shape. It glows now in our hands, on our walls, in the palms of our children, the black mirror. And the shadows dance faster. They talk back. They flatter. They argue. And just like the prisoners of old, we stare at them for hours, convinced that what we see is the whole of reality, or at least the reality being presented to us on our black mirrors. And every generation has had its prophets, right? Men and women who step out of the cave and see the light for what it is, right? They come back with eyes wide open, trying to tell the world that truth still exists. That good and evil aren't opinions, that there really is a source behind the shadows, and every generation responds pretty much the same way, right? They mock them, they cancel them, or they crucify them, kill them. And it happened to Jeremiah when he warned Judah, right? It happened to Elijah when he faced the prophets of Baal, although that's a great story. One of my favorites because he, at least at some point, puts it right in their face, right? To some degree, he mocks them back. And it also happened to John the Baptist in Herod's court. And of course, it happened to Jesus, the light himself, when he entered the darkness and said, "This is the verdict." Remember? He said, "Light has come into the world, but men love darkness rather than light." And so when we step into the digital cave today and speak truth, whether it's about morality or creation or the reality of God, we meet the same laughter and hostility that silenced the prophets, atheists, skeptics, mockers. They're not the enemy, they're prisoners on the wall. The type described in Plato's allegory, angry at the glare of a world they've never seen. And they argue from the shadows, thinking they're defending reason. When really they're defending the comfort of a darkness that feels similar or familiar. But here's the part that people miss, most people anyway. The man who saw the light didn't escape to save himself. He came back and he returned to the cave to tell them. So that's what truth tellers do, right? If you're a fellow pilgrim who listens to the show and subscribes, which I thank you for it. If you're new, please subscribe, share your comments, like, share, leave us a 5-star review or comments or whatever you would like. It just helps us with the algorithm. It makes the reach out there more. So we appreciate all of you. We really do. I thank every one of you who comments and likes and shares. And I appreciate you taking the time to do it. It only takes a few seconds, but it's very meaningful. So that's what we, as followers of Christ, if you are one, must still do, right? No matter how much they hate the light that exposes their illusions. And because some will see it, some will blink and squint and finally understand that what they've called enlightenment was only the flicker of a dying fire in a dark world. And those are the ones worth walking back into the cave for. And I have come across those kind of people on Facebook, and I appreciate it. But I've also come across literally people who would prefer that I be silenced. And I just find that fascinating. I don't want to silence atheists. I want to hear why they think what they think. Um, Politely, of course. I really don't like the vulgar, foul language that's often used. And if it gets too hot and heavy, I do ban because I don't want to have everybody having to put up with somebody obnoxious in the comments, and it's my page. So I don't have to have that on my page. But if somebody's totally willing to have a decent discussion about it, then I engage as much as I can. This week I've been super duper busy, and I have dozens upon dozens upon dozens of comments and emails that I need to reply to. I just haven't had a chance. And frankly, I'm thinking about going down to one show a week for several reasons. One, I'm fixing to go into a very, very, very busy season at work. Number one. Number two, I need to finish our album so it can be released in mid to late November. And I am also still writing a book that I haven't had a chance to work on for almost a month because I've been so busy at work and doing the podcast. So I might go down to just our Monday night podcast, at least for a while. And then, part of this podcast on Friday nights now is, stuff that my wife and I talk about during the week that we've both observed. And some things I just happened to come across from fellow listeners. But one of the things we were discussing is I came across a video of a woman. First, let me mention this. My wife and I are kind of health freaks. Maybe not freaks, but like we try to avoid any foods that cause inflammation. Sugar, like I've replaced virtually all sugar with honey. And have even reduced that. For instance, I used to have flavored creams in my coffee, or sugar and whatever, but I've replaced that with milk and honey, and I don't get that acidic feeling in my stomach that I used to blame on the acidity of coffee. But I don't guess it was because of the coffee. I think it was because of the inflammation caused by horrible sweeteners. Including sugar. And so along that line, we both take supplements. And one of the things we've been doing, because we've been seeing videos about parasite cleansing and things of that nature, is we're trying to just make sure that we're healthy. And sometimes we'll either fast, or here lately, we've been taking black walnut and clove with water. But one of the ones I've been meaning to try, because I've heard it's very effective on a number of things. Some I won't say in the video because I've been dinged for health things before by YouTube. But I did want to mention that apparently researchers have found that oregano and thyme contain a plant compound that can suppress tumor development in preclinical studies. I went to look it up because the lady I was listening to was talking about how it can help possibly get rid of certain ailments that rhyme with the word Prancer, one of Santa's reindeer. And it was a study from Purdue University. But I was more interested in the parasite aspect of it. But she was saying that many of these prancer type things are caused by parasitic activity. And apparently, oregano oil dissolves this protective barrier around the parasite, and then black seed oil, which allows your body to, of course, help destroy it. The the parasite, and then black seed oil helps to act as a coagulant, or I can't remember what they call it, but it helps your body to flush out the parasites, so you don't feel the quite, because oftentimes when you do these kinds of things, you go through a period of what feels like fatigue and flu-like symptoms, and it's because your body is purging itself of toxins. And some people think to themselves, oh, well, what I'm doing here is just making me feel worse. Well, oftentimes you go through a period of initially feeling worse because your body is getting rid of crap. And until you are killing it, but it's still in your body, and until your body expels it, you're going to feel kind of terrible. And some of these items that are used as binding agents, that's the word I'm looking for, helps your body to more efficiently and rapidly get rid of this nastiness. And so anyway, we found it really, really interesting that apparently the combination of oregano and black seed oil seems to be highly effective in aiding with parasitic activity and prancer. So the black seed oil apparently helps with that as well. A compound in the black seed oil called, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but it looks like it's pronounced timaquinone or TQ. Maybe some of you are more familiar with it than I am. I don't really have a huge medical background or anything, but I do know that cutting out inflammatories, processed foods, and perimeter shopping and eating healthy has made a big difference in my wife and I's lives. And so, even though it's a bit more expensive, I feel like spending a little bit more money on fresh groceries, meat, and things of that nature may, in the long road, prevent huge medical bills, when all that processed food and sugar catches up with you. So, there's that. And then another thing, another friend of mine's podcast that I always try to catch when he puts out a new episode, George Hobbs and the Fact Hunter program, and he was talking about the Protestant Reformation and Martin Luther. And so I wanted to mention this because I was thinking about the cave analogy or allegory, and I was thinking, okay, well, here's another man, centuries after Christ, who dared to walk out of the cave, right? Martin Luther. And in his day, truth itself had been chained behind walls of Latin, guarded by priests who said only they could understand it, right? And only they could sell forgiveness on God's behalf. The poor and the simple were told to pay coin for grace. That was the scam going on, as though salvation were a business transaction. And it wasn't about heaven, it was about control, right? So Luther wasn't trying to start necessarily a revolution, he was trying to open a window. He wanted people to see the light for themselves, to read the word with their own eyes, and to realize that God's mercy could not be purchased. Salvation was by grace through faith, and that Christ had already paid the price. But like the freed prisoner in the cave who tried to tell others what he had seen, Luther's voice was met, of course, with rage by people who were going to lose power and money as a result. So he had touched the golden chain that bound into the wall, and the chain of money and power. And the Roman hierarchy didn't fear his theology as much as they feared what it would cost them when the people woke up, right? They branded him a heretic, And so the world did what it always does in these cases. When someone dares to expose the shadows and threatens their money and power, it tried to silence him. And again, they branded him a heretic, excommunicated him, hunted him down, not because his message was false, even though that's, the primary thing that they were saying to the people, but because it was freeing. They didn't want these people free. They wanted their money for sin. 20 coins of silver to pay for the sin you committed, right? And then you'll go to heaven. So he showed them that truth doesn't belong to the powerful. It belongs to anyone willing to seek it. And that is why his story still matters today, because the same spirit that hated the light then still hates it now, right? And I guess that's just the point that I wanted to make, is it doesn't really matter what the people in the cave try to do. Sometimes they will get rid of us. Sometimes they'll manage to silence us for a while. But we still need to reach out for those people who will come out of the cave and see the truth for themselves, because they listened to you and I, right? I know many of you listening don't have a podcast, but you're listening to this one, and your way of doing it, getting somebody back out of the shadows in the cave and showing, pointing, hey, come with me, I want to show you something, and point them towards light and truth in the world outside and not just shadows of it. And, the light is always going to hurt the eyes of those who've lived too long in darkness, right? And so whether it's prophets that were stoned outside the city, reformers burned at the stake, or truth tellers silenced in the digital square, it's the same story, basically. The shadows are familiar, and the keepers of the fire don't take kindly to anyone who turns around to see what's really behind the wall that they're watching with the shadows on it. But you and I, we were made for the daylight, right? If you're listening to this podcast, I hope that you want to walk in daylight and truth. So if what we speak here stirs something in you, that ache to see more clearly, to be out of the cave, then don't stay chained in the cave. Step onto the road with us and help others to come out, right? And like I said, one way to do that is you can subscribe to Pilgrims Great Chronicles on YouTube, Rumble, Spreaker, Spotify, Apple. I mean, we're everywhere. And share this episode with someone still watching the shadows, and join our fellowship at pilgrimsgray.com for our music. A new album comes out in November. We have merchandise there too, and our, other clothing stuff. I'm still working on trying to get more in there. And then we have our full library of past journeys. We have over 140 episodes to go listen to. If you just look at I try to categorize everything into playlists, so you can just listen to the full playlist if you want to. So anyway, that is our show for tonight. And until next time, keep your lantern lit, your eyes open, and remember, the road that goes ever on leads always towards light and out of this cave. Oh, and one other thing. I've got a different song for tonight's outro, like I promised. So hopefully you can let me know what you think of it and see if you like it better. In case, we decided to keep trying to do some of these shows instead of just doing them on Monday. In the meantime, everybody have an awesome weekend. I, unfortunately, have to go into work tomorrow, so I'm cutting this show short. Godspeed to all of you. See ya.
Gather round, you weary travelers, let me tell you tales, tales of woe and wonder, tales of long, long trails. Dusty roads and broken dreams, whispers on the breeze, secrets that the highway keeps underneath the trees.
So listen close and you will hear the stories of the road we hold so dear.
Long road. coast in Santa Fe, heard a banshee cry, saw a truck stop angel pray beneath a desert sky.
So listen close and you will hear the stories of the road we hold so